Hi all, welcome to Workato Masterclass Series. Today we are going to discuss about stateful versus stateless. So before we move into our today's agenda, let's have a quick recap on what we have studied in the previous session. We have talked about Workato certification, which got restructured in the Workato Academy. Now previously we had Workato Automation Pro 1, Pro 2, Pro 3. Now it got restructured with saying we'll have a different structure with foundation level 1 and level 2. Okay, if you have missed it, I have covered many more things in that, like how to do certifications, and also what all the concept got changed in the automation, like what do you call foundation level 1 and level 2. If you have missed it, please go and check our previous video. I'll be providing a link in the description box, as well as you can click I button at the right of our video. Okay, okay, let's jump into our today's agenda, that is stateful versus stateless. So when we heard this particular state, like the word stateful or a stateless, what you will comes into your mind, like what you'll think, what you're able to think, right? So you maybe like maybe stateful is like where dependence is more on the users, and whereas stateless is like dependency is less, kind of, right? In a layman terms, we can say. Let's understand with a scenario wise, right? Say execution time wise, stateless is very short, and stateful is a longer process compared to stateless. And context storage, where stateless we need not need anything, but in stateful we need that. Typical pattern, API processing, likewise in the stateful it's a workflow automations. I will explain this particular thing through a recipe, okay, in Workato, after we finished off this particular comparisons. Okay, job duration, it's in seconds, and stateful will be like kind of start with a minutes, or maybe like more than it can be days as well. Use case, typically like we can say like in data sync we use stateless, and in stateful we go for a business process, something kind of. Okay, okay, let's now jump into our workspace, workout workspace, then we'll start looking into this. Okay, so now let's observe, this is a workflow. Okay, let if you want to know how basically this looks in the workspace. So this similarly you're creating a project, whereas you are creating from a scratch, and one was like through a workflow. Okay, the workflow is one where it's a kind of having UI followed by the database as well. Okay, so here are four stages, like I'm looking into this. So this is not important to discuss right now. We are focusing on stateless and stateful, so hence I will be focusing on that particular term. So let's go to the workflow stage now, like workflow. This is where the applications got like when we redirect, let me click on this particular go to app. Okay, so now, say example, I'm creating a new request, expense report for the my company. Okay, so example, I'll just take accommodations. Okay, uh, I accommodation. Sorry, accommodation expenses. This is traveled, stayed in US for a week. Okay, so I'll just say like expense date is on, say I just take today's date only. I'll say like 9,000. I'll not give any business expenses. That's small, since it's a not mandatory. I'll just submit it. Okay. Let's now see, since it's a new request, and now if you observe in a minute, a few seconds, it will go to financial approval. Okay. See if you observe. Now this financial approval, right? When I go to the recipe, right? So it will be in the pending state still. You see the processing event. So if you observe my previous request also still in pending, means until I go and click on the financial approval, this will be keep on looping. Mean looping in the sense keep on staying in that stage only. Okay, this is for a stateful process, and let's understand the similar like the stateless now. Okay, stateless, I took example of API processes, API platform. Okay, where I'm hitting a endpoint, API endpoint, and by sending this information. Okay, I'll just say Okay, so I'll just say changes to current. Okay, so I'll just hit it. So let's say like I'll get a immediate response back saying it got executed and it's success. Okay, now in the response of yeah, like recipe wise, we'll see. Okay, see, got success. So now see, let's understand, like see, observe when I hit this particular recipe, right? It took more, not more than 2 point, like more than, let's say example, 2.1 second took, right? So example here, until this approval is done, we have to wait a longer, right? But even though it's not calculating for the time, say example, I'll just go and approval this one, okay? I'll just say like what time it took, take, okay? So it should not be then approved, okay? I'll just say approved, say approved, it is done. That's it. Okay, so now let's say like I'll go to this particular this thing. Did you observe? It took 1 minute 49 seconds. Means it will calculate how much time it took to process that as well. Okay, so that's a difference when we go for stateful versus stateless processes. Okay, uh, this is basically I want to convey on this particular point, that's like stateful and stateless. Apart from that, say when you get an requirements, you have to understand where exactly my requirement is lies on, whether it's a stateful or a stateless part like processes. So then you can decide like design wise very proper way, right? So that will be implementation also easy based on your design. Okay, so be careful when you're choosing the processes or requirement wise. Try to understand that like whether it's a intervention is required, or like example human intervention is required or not. If it's not required, then definitely it will be a stateless process which you are going to follow. Okay, so with that, I end this particular session. Before that, I want to say, as always, I say like be your like be in stage where you're learning from others, and as well as give your best wherever you are, wherever you are there. Like it's not like only to a job or like everywhere. Okay, so give your best and keep learning from others and keep learning up, keep sharing it, share your knowledge as well. With that, with that note, I'll close this. Thank you so much.